Hey everybody, we'll try this one more time. This is Ellen Palmer. I'm the co-founder of Healing Meals Community Project and also a holistic health coach. And I'm delighted to be here with you, albeit late. My apologies. We're having some technical difficulties. I wanted to share with you some information to help you be really successful as you train for our largest fundraiser. So thank you for joining us live, or if you're watching the video later, we appreciate you being here. The Eversource Hartford Marathon is the largest fundraiser of the year for us, and we feel really fortunate. It's the perfect platform for us to raise awareness and raise funds to help support our clients who are families that are facing a health crisis. And every year we come together to run, walk, and stroll through the Eversource Hartford Marathon races, either the 5K, the 10K, the half, or the full. But this year, because of COVID, we are virtual, which is actually even more fun for us because we get to invite all of our friends and family from so many different places around the country and the world. So we're trying to make some lemonade out of lemons, some organic lemonade out of lemons here. So we're making progress towards our goal. This year, our goal is $100,000 and we're making progress, but we need your support. We will post a link after the video finishes of the link to register for our team. And what's interesting this year is that when you register to be a member of the Healing Meals Community Project team, your $25 registration fee, which is about half of what it usually is a direct donation to our organization. So essentially, when you're registering to walk, run, or bike, you are actually making a direct donation to us. So this year, there's even more options. You can either walk, run, or bike with us, or you can just simply fundraise. So there's all sorts of different ways you can support us, for which we're very, very, very grateful. So because everyone is walking, running, or biking a different distance race, I wanted to share some general nutrition information to support your training. So wherever you are, many people walk the 5K in support of our organization, and that's fantastic. Some folks are running the 5K for the first time. Some folks are doing a 10K for the first time. Wherever you're at in your training, it's fantastic. And so I'm going to share some general information here today. And if you need any additional support, then you can just reach out to us. So I have lots of stuff to share and I want to stay on track. So I'm going to follow along here on my notes. And so basically I'm going to provide some general information to support fueling your workout. And when most people think about fuel, I get a lot of comments as a health coach. Does that mean gels and goos and energy bars and energy drinks? And not necessarily. What's interesting about fueling your workout in that way is that lots of times those products, although they're great and they're convenient, they are loaded with a lot of sugar or artificial colors and dyes, which are really, really toxic to our body. And that extra sugar can be disruptive to our overall health and our immune system. It can also, sometimes the sugars that they use in them can cause stomach distress, which you definitely don't want when you are running a race or walking a race. So in general, the things we need to focus on when we're talking about fueling our body for a workout are hydration, pre-workout fuel for energy and also for distance or endurance, post-workout repair and recovery, and also eating balanced meals throughout your training. So I have all sorts of props here that you can't see yet. I'll bring them out as I'm talking about them. But let's basically talk about hydration first, because that's something that we should be doing all day, every day anyway. Our body is brilliant. It knows exactly what to do, and it needs water to do anything. So whether it's the quality of organ function or to keep our cells hydrated, we need at least half of our body weight in ounces per day. That's not to do any form of exercise whatsoever. That's just to show up and make sure our body has what it needs to get us through the day, to think clearly and to have the energy to show up for work and for relationships, etc. So on average, the body needs half its body weight in ounces per day, as I mentioned. So if someone is 200 pounds, they would generally need about 100 ounces of water. And the general rule of thumb is for every 15 minutes of cardio that you are doing, you need an additional 8 ounces of water. And for all of my coffee drinkers out there or caffeine drinkers, for every 8 ounces of a caffeinated drink you're drinking, you need an additional 8 ounces of water. So I know that's bad news for a whole bunch of folks because they feel like they're going to be drinking water all day, but it serves our brain, our immune system, our hormone balance, and everything else. So it's critically important, even without exercise, that we get enough water. So when you are exercising, be sure to stay hydrated throughout the day. If you're doing your training run or your workout later in the day, the best time to hydrate is throughout the whole day. If you're getting up in the morning and you're going to do a workout within a half hour or so, I would start the day with a huge glass of water. Most people are dehydrated, and so they're reaching for energy, but really what they need is water. So that's a little bit on hydration. Throughout the course of your workout, if you're generally working out about a half hour or less, you probably don't need to take many water breaks. If you're running, if you're doing a cardio class and you need a couple sips, that's fantastic. But generally, folks can get through a half hour without needing to rehydrate. The other things that we talk about in terms of fueling and recovering the body are making sure we have enough of the right macronutrients. So the things that you'll need to stay fueled and to recover are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So simply, carbohydrates are the main source of fuel, and it's what your body draws on to make sure that it has what it needs to get the job done. So especially for athletes, it's critically important. So it's interesting about carbohydrates because a lot of people are used to really fueling with dense pastas, and a lot of sugar, but the best source of carbohydrates are fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, things like oatmeal, quinoa, brown rice. And so those allow your body to store up the carbs that you need for fuel. And I'll get into how much and when in just a second. So we also need protein. So proteins are what repair and rebuild muscle and tendons that break down during any sort of physical activity. So some great sources of that are, if you're eating animal proteins, those would be poultry, fish, eggs. Some more of the plant-based are lentils, chickpeas, quinoa, chia, nuts and seeds. Some folks use dairy too, like cottage cheese or yogurt. Whatever your fancy. I think each person is different. You can base it on your blood type. You can base it on what you experienced as an athlete in the past. But in general, we need about 1.5 grams of protein for every kilogram that you weigh. So if you weigh 140 pounds, that's about 64 kilos. You'll need about 96 grams of protein daily if you're training. So carbs, proteins, fats. Fats are what provide the energy at the lower intensities of working out. And it also helps you to feel satisfied and that you're full and your body's under less stress. So the best sources of fats are those unsaturated fats like olive oil, nuts and seeds. I have a couple here. Avocados. Fish is also another one. Also meat and dairy. We really want to have more non-saturated than saturated fats. So you want to avoid things like trans fats, which are hydrogenated vegetable oils, which are really, really common in prepackaged snack foods. So back to what we need to do every day as we're training for races is to have a balanced diet with a wide variety of different fruits and vegetables of different colors to make sure that you're getting enough of the right sources of vitamins in your diet so your body can maintain level and healthy immune system, hormone balance, etc. So runners that are training really should have about 20% protein, 20% fat, and about 60% carbohydrates in their everyday, so at every meal. So that can look like, as we talked about before, a variety of different fruits and vegetables in those animal proteins that we talked about. It isn't complicated. I think we have a tendency to think that we need to whip up all these different recipes and these different complicated meals. But really, if you have a piece of fish, hey Eileen, good to see you here. If you have a piece of fish and 2 types of sauteed or steamed vegetables with that and some olive oil drizzled over the top, that's an example of a fat, protein, and a carbohydrate. So really the balance should be about 20% fat, 20% protein, and the rest carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates. So let's get into the pre-run or pre-workout protocol. And again, it just depends on how far you're going, but generally, if you want to make sure you're built up in the right way so that you have enough energy, You can have a meal about 3 or 4 hours before you run, so that a balanced meal, which is what we talked about before, those fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. But if you don't have time for that, often I don't have time for a meal. And my lunch will have been much earlier than when I'm going to run before dinner. There's too much of a gap there. So I'll have a snack. And so I'll have, just happen to have this here, I'll have a piece of whole grain, gluten-free bread with some almond butter and then a banana. So something quick and easy. If I have time, I'll make a protein shake. So this is just almond milk, a little bit of protein powder. I use a couple that I like. I use Garden of Life is one that's fantastic. I think this is also really, really good too and super clean. It's OWYN is only what you need. So it's gluten-free, dairy-free, it's plant-based, it's soy-free. This flavor happens to be strawberry banana, but so I'll make a protein shake and I'll have a glass about this size, about a half hour before I go out and run. And that will hold me for my whole run, and it'll give me enough energy to be able to get through and feel good about it. You could also do a piece of fruit like a banana and a handful of nuts, like walnuts or pecans. You could do almonds. And again, you want to have that about a half hour before. Now, during your run or your workout, depending on how long you're going, for about each mile that you're running, you're burning about 100 calories. So this is not about weight loss, so I don't want this to get confusing. This is really to make sure that you're fueled appropriately. But just so you know, for about every mile, you're burning about 100 calories of energy. So if you're going out for a longer run, you're going to need to fuel throughout the course of your run. So if you're running about an hour, so 60 minutes or less, you don't need to fuel. You should be fine. Let's say it's a half hour or even 35 or 40 minutes. You don't need any additional carbohydrate sources. But if you're going out for 60 minutes or more, your body's blood glucose and your glycogen storage is going to get depleted. So you're going to need more carbohydrates. And so there you want to have between 30 and 60 grams of carbs for each hour of exercise. So if you're doing a really, really long run, say you're at a training run and you're getting ready to, and you're training for the marathon and you're going out for 14 miles or so, you're probably going to need to fuel at least 2 or 3 times during that time frame if you're out for that long. And I remember a while ago, this is probably, I don't even know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we were training for these sprint triathlons. And it wasn't that we were doing any one activity for very long, but we would be training for an hour or 2 hours. And I tried all these different gummies and chews and gels, and they were pretty gross to me. I maybe my palate's different, but I just didn't really enjoy them. But I found this fantastic product. I wish I had it. I'm actually not at home, so I couldn't pull from my private stash. But there's a honey-based product, which makes it super simple for you to put into your running belt or your biking pack. And it's by Honey Stinger. And it's organic honey. And it's a fantastic source of energy. And basically, you can just rip off the top while you're running. And I use my teeth, and I'll just pull the honey extract out, and that gives me a great burst of energy. It kicks in about 15 minutes after I take it if I'm on a longer run, and that will keep me fueled for a while, for at least another 45 minutes or so, 30 to 45 minutes. There's also a bar, so I'm not a huge fan of bars, but there is a bar that I do like. It's by ProBar Bolt. It's super clean. It's, again, easy, because you could use fruit when you're out on your run, but you're not going to want to be carrying apples and bananas with you. So these products are a fantastic source and will keep you feeling the energy that you need in order to keep on going. Some folks also put liquid hydration on their running belt. So they'll have a little, again, I don't have this with me, I apologize, but they'll have a little container. So instead of just having water in their containers, their little mini water bottle, they'll put coconut water, because if you're sweating, you're also losing some of those electrolytes like potassium, magnesium, and sodium. So you'll want to rehydrate too. So in your running pack, you can add coconut water, or there's a couple of other drinks that I do recommend for the post workout to get that electrolyte balancing taken care of when you finish. So again, while you're running or you're working out, it's all about how much time you're going to be out there. So again, 45 minutes or half hour, you should be fine. You don't need to fuel. But if you're going to be out there longer than an hour, you're going to need to add at least 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates. The easiest way to do that is throw some of these organic honey packs in your running belt or on your biking belt. Now, during and post, we talked about the carbohydrates and the honey. There's two drinks that I really, really like. One, it's called Nooma, Nooma, and it's an organic electrolyte sports drink. And you've heard of Gatorade and G2 and all those, and they're just loaded with sugar. And we don't need that much sugar. If you're an Olympic athlete and you're training for, hours on end, and you're sweating the entire time, you should have coconut water. You should have an electrolyte replacement. These other drinks really are overkill, and they're just loaded with so many things that can be toxic to your body. But these I love because they're organic and they're super, super, super clean. There's another one called Roar. And then the other one that I already mentioned is called just plain old coconut water. You can get that anywhere and just dump that into your miniature portable water bottle. So that's while you're running or working out. And the recovery, I argue, is as important as how you stay fueled to get the energy that you need throughout your workout. And this is where you are replenishing and recovering muscle, tissue, tendon, so that you can get back out there and train. When we're working out, we're actually ripping muscle, and we need to repair that so that we can keep going. And the best way to do that is right after your workout, within 30 minutes anyway. You'll either want to have a protein shake, like I talked about before. You could have the rest of it. So this was made in a NutriBullet, and this would be the equivalent of the serving that I would have about 15 minutes after a longer run. You can also have yogurt with fruit. Blueberries are great. They're antioxidants, so they're a great source to clean up free radical damage, oxidative stress. So when we're exercising, we are breathing, and so we're taking in tons and tons of oxygen, and we're causing damage through oxidative stress. So blueberries and other antioxidants clean that up for you. So it's great to get your protein shake with the blueberries. It takes care of your protein and your carbohydrate replacement. You could do fruit with nuts again. You could do, if you have access to hard-boiled eggs and some veggie sticks, or chocolate milk is great. I know there's tons of runners that just love to have a nice glass of chocolate milk when you finish. So cacao, the chocolate, is an antioxidant, and the milk is a great source of protein. So that would take care of it as well. So then if you can have a full meal within 2 hours, especially if you've got a harder workout that you've just done or a longer training run, you want to make sure you're replenishing by having those fats, proteins, and carbohydrates 20%, and 60% on your plate between 2 and 3 hours afterwards. The other thing that I think is worth talking about, and it's not really food related, but some other things that you can do post-workout to help you stay in shape and stay flexible is to come to a jog. So if you're finishing your run, don't just stop and walk. Wind down to a jog for maybe a quarter of a mile or a half mile, and then finish it off with the walk. And really what you're doing is you're getting your body down to, I'll call it normal status or normal state. It really helps avoid blood pooling in your legs. It can help in that cool down process. You're redistributing blood flow. It can lower the heart rate. It can bring your breathing down gradually. It can allow your body temperature to drop, and it really helps to flush out any toxins that were released during the run as well. So it can also help reduce muscle soreness because you're slowing the body down gradually as opposed to just coming to a quick stop. And then what you really want to do is stretch. And I'm guilty of this too. I'll be the first one to admit it. Emily Hansen, who did our last Facebook Live on preventing injury, I am like her best customer because for a long time I just didn't take enough time to stretch, and then I would get injured. But you really want to elongate those muscles afterwards and release all of the acids that have built in during your workout out, and just let that blood flow through there and start that repairing process for muscles and tendons and joints. Another great way after you finish your workout, say you're doing some cross training and you've just done some spinning, or you're biking, and you don't want to slow down on your bike because you'll fall over, not to be too funny about it, but you can get off the bike and park it, set it down, and then go for a light jog or go for a walk, which is a way to also slow down your heart rate. So this isn't just about running. It can be for all different types of workouts. It's just, we want to use common sense. We don't just want to slam our body into a workout, and we don't just want to stop steady. We want to give our body a chance to get into our exercise, and we want our body to have a chance to get out of the exercise casually. So again, to have some very simple things on hand, you want to have water for sure. Stay hydrated every day, especially if you're training for a longer race. You're going to do better based on how well hydrated you've been over time, especially during your training runs. Have some simple things on hand like avocados and nuts and seeds, some bananas, some blueberries, a really good protein shake that you like. I think it's great. You can even order some of these online. This happens to be a vegan plant-based protein without soy, and some whole grains to have on hand. I think a lot of people think of carbohydrates as the way to fuel, and depending on if you're having pasta, that usually causes a quick jolt of energy, but then you crash and your body doesn't have the energy that it needs to finish off a longer run or a workout. And then we tend to want to have more sugar to boost our energy back up. So keep it low and steady. Again, I think it's so fantastic that we're making our way towards meeting our financial goal of $100,000 for the 2020 Eversource Hartford Marathon fundraising team. But as important to us is also the community building. We're really excited to have people from all over the country and the world join us. We'd like to have about 100 walkers, runners, or bikers. It's really, really simple to register for our team. And again, the Hartford Marathon Foundation, because of their sponsorship, has been able to lower the registration price to $25. And that's a direct pass through to the charity that folks are registering with. So it would be great if you could join us. We would love it wherever you are. You could be anywhere along the Eastern Seaboard, mid Seaboard, West Coast. It would just be fantastic. Chelsea, thanks for joining us. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. You can email me, Ellen at Ellen Palmer Wellness. Please join our Facebook page, like us. You can check us out on Instagram as well, Healing Meals Project. And our next Facebook Live with some additional resources to help your training will be yoga for runners. And so I hope you'll join us in just a couple weeks. We'll send something out to you ahead of time to let you know, and hopefully we won't have any technical difficulties at that point. If you have any questions, please do reach out. And again, thanks so much for joining us. Hey, Mackenzie, thanks for joining. You are going to be doing our next Facebook Live with yoga. So it's good to see you here. All right, everybody, enjoy those training sessions. And if you are walking or wogging, as Sarah says, which is a combination walk or jog, don't think that you can't get out there now. You want to make sure that you are staying healthy so you are injury-free by the time you get out there on race day, which is anywhere between October 8th and the 12th, which is also fun. I'll just take one more second and share this with you. What's really fun about the virtual experience this year is that you don't have to do your run on a particular day. You can pick any time between October 8th and October 12th to do your runs, and they have some really cool challenges this year. I'm doing the Tenacious 2, which is a 5K and a 10K in the same weekend. But they have all sorts of different distances and challenges. And when you register, you get a Eversource Hartford Marathon t-shirt and a finisher medal. And also with Healing Meals, for everybody that raises $100, you get a t-shirt. And then we have some progressive incentive swag. So we have a duffel bag, we have a vest, we have, what else do we have? We have this really cool smaller duffel bag. So this year we're really excited to incent you to raise money and awareness for us by sending out, we're going to have little delivery angels that are sending these great gifts out to you, dropped off at your doorstep. So all sorts of fun things this year. We're psyched that you're joining us. Don't forget to register. We will be back here in just a couple of weeks with yoga for running. Thanks again for joining us. Be well. Bye.